What's going on, people, and welcome to a long anticipated new player versus player. And today we have Carlos Tevez versus Luis Suarez, both players that I was big fans of. I know a lot of people don't like Suarez, especially United people. His time at Liverpool, but I've always been a fan of him. I've got to be honest. I'd have loved to have had him at United simply for what he could do on the ball and how good a player he was outside of the antics. So Tevez, one of my all-time favourites as well. His time at United was just phenomenal. Even at West Ham before that, and did all right at City as well. Fond of both of these players, both South American, both have that grit that South Americans have, but they also have that ability as well, that it's a good balance. Excited to do this one, and don't forget I will put a new player versus player poll in the community tab for you guys to go and have your say on which one you want to see next. But without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we've got passing. I think there's a lot in it between this, between the passing. I think I would edge it to Tevez, but not by a lot. Tevez for passing. Heading, neither have scored a ton. I don't necessarily look at them as headers of the ball and think, yeah, that's what you remember them for. Definitely not a strength for either of these two. Top of my head though, I'd edge it to Suarez for heading. Creating and assists, I think Tevez could play that number 10 if you needed him to, but he would also get you a lot of goals. And I think Suarez had the ability to do that, but he was more of the end finisher, the end product finisher in terms of just finishing moves off. I would edge that to Tevez for creating and assists. I think he could do that number 10 role a bit better. Goals, Tevez has 255, Suarez has 450. So it's not even close with the goals. Just in sheer number and respect on the sheer numbers, you've got to give it to Suarez. 1v1s, it's a tough one. Again, I feel like this is similar to the passing. There's not a lot in it. I think Suarez, I would probably edge this too. I think he had a bit more ice cold in his veins in them situations. I think he was a bit more of a productive finisher and not just a in-the-box finisher. But them moments where it's 1v1 with a keeper, I have more in my head that stick out to me from Suarez and Tevez. So composure in front of goal, it's tough. I'm going to give it to Suarez. I think he was a better finisher than Tevez was, and I think the numbers say that too. But just for what I remember of watching them both, and this is coming from a Manchester United supporter, mind you, so there's no bias, because if I was biased, I'd give it to Tevez. Composure-wise, being that ice-cold killer in front of goal, Suarez. Dribbling, I think they were both good. I would edge dribbling to Tevez. I think Suarez is very capable at dribbling, but he is more of a one-touch give-and-go type of player, whereas Tevez, I think, was a bit of a better dribbler. So I'd give it to Tevez for dribbling. Acceleration, I don't think either of these were terribly fast. Neither of them stand out to me for their speed. I'm going to come back to acceleration. Tenacity, this is a tricky one. This might be the trickiest one because they were both had that South American fire that I was on about in the beginning of the video. They had that fight and desire to just go after the ball and be a pest. And even with marking players and pressing, they're pressing off the ball. I don't remember seeing any two better than these two. They were non-stop, but then they had the energy when they got the ball, even after minutes and minutes of pressing, to then have the energy and the fitness to go and do what they did when they had the ball. So in terms of tenacity, before I decide on this, they both get their flowers from me for this, because this is one of their key components and strengths that I remember from both of these guys. It's really tricky. We're going to have to come back to that. Acceleration, tenacity, we have to come back to it. Influence on a game and the team, tough again. I think when you think of Tevez at West Ham, kept them up from relegation when they were going down. Looked dead cert to go down, he rescues them. Comes to United, forms that partnership with Rooney and Ronaldo. Unbelievable times. And those Rooney and Ronaldo might have got more of the goals, but Tevez was so vital in that partnership of setting them up, doing the gritty, nasty off-the-ball work for them too as well. It's really tough. And the influence that brung off the ball, not just when they're on the ball, is so key and fundamental to what they wanted to do, and it would affect what their teams could win and achieve, and it's so tough. I'm going to edge it to Suarez for influence, but there's really not a lot in it. Teamwork, I think Suarez is a bit more of an individual, but he definitely could link up and set players up Think of his time with Neymar and Messi at Barca. But I do think Tevez gets a lot of criticism in terms of he didn't like to train. People just have this opinion about him that he was selfish, I think, and just out for himself. But you can't go on to have a career like he did and win what he did and be respected for people like me if you don't have a certain level of teamwork in you. So for me, I think Tevez deserves the teamwork. Agility, again, neither of these two are what I picture of as sheer agility. I think they're both similar in this aspect. I'm going to have to come back to that one as well. Technique, I think they're both underrated with their technique, but I would edge the technique to Suarez. But big fan of both for this. Strength, deceptively strong. They were both pretty small guys, but deceptively strong. Tevez was like a bull. Like, he was very small, but he rarely got pushed off the ball or muscled off the ball. And he was just like a pit bull. Whereas Suarez had that, but I felt like he bounced off people more. Maybe had a little bit more acceleration. It's a tricky one for this as well. There's so many of these are so tight to pick. I would go with Tevez for strength. Trophies, Tevez has got 28 and Suarez has got 20. You'd have to give it to Tevez for the trophies. Both decorated in their careers, but on numbers, Tevez gets it for trophies. And career, both have had fantastic careers. Even on an international stage, neither of them have really done a lot on the international stage in terms of winning major trophies. I think Tevez might have an Olympic gold medal though. I might be wrong on that, but I think he might. And Suarez obviously has gone quite far in competitions, but they've never won it, like the World Cup. But I think they're so vital to their countries as well as their teams they play for. And back, looking over their career, I think you look at Tevez he's been to multiple countries, United, City, West Ham, Juventus, Boca Juniors. Suarez, obviously, Ajax, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool. It's tough for career. It depends what you're basing it on, whether you count the trophies into the career vote. We'll come back to career. Acceleration, I'm going to give it to Suarez. I want to give it to both of them for tenacity because I think they both had it in them. I need to know what you guys think for tenacity, honestly. I don't think there's anything to pick between them. I'm going to come back to tenacity because I can't decide. Agility, I'm going to edge the agility to Tevez. Career, we're going to finish it on tenacity. We'll go to career. In terms of Premier League, Tevez will be remembered longer because he was there longer in the league. But that couple of seasons that Suarez had at Liverpool was just unbelievable. Should have won a league title with them. Edge it to Suarez. It could go either way. And then to finish off then on tenacity, which I'm just having the worst time deciding because I think it's unfair to give it to either of them over the other. Do you know what? I'm going to do something different. For the first time ever, I'm going to give them a point each, or half a point, because I usually do these on... So, we'll count them up and then I'll explain. So I give each player, whoever wins each category, 1 point for each category they win. But for the first time ever, I'm sharing one of the categories because I can't decide it. So I'm going to give each them half a point and that will be added to their total each. So Tevez passing, 1-0 Tevez. Heading, Suarez, 1-1. Creating an assist, Tevez, 2-1. Goals, Suarez, 2-all. 1v1, Suarez, 3-2. Composure, Suarez, 4-2. Dribbling, Tevez, 4-3. Acceleration, Suarez, 5-3. Tenacity, they get half a point each, so we'll come back to that in a minute. Influence, Suarez, 6-3. Teamwork, Tevez, 6-4. Agility, Tevez, 6-5. Technique, Suarez, 7-5. Strength, Tevez, 7-6. Trophies, Tevez, 7-all. Career, Suarez, 8-7. Suarez, and then it's going to be 8.5 for Suarez, 7.5 for Tevez. That is it, guys. With the half a point each added on to the totals, it's finished Tevez 7.5, Luis Suarez 8.5. Obviously, I'm a Manchester United supporter, but I'm not going to lie, I would have loved Suarez at United at any point because I think he's that good of a player. And if he was at United when he was at Liverpool for them few years, we'd have won even more. So for me, I love Tevez. As I said, he gets a lot of hate nowadays of people saying like he hated to train, didn't train well. But what does that matter when you go on game day and produce as much as he did? I think he gets too much stick and criticism and not enough appreciation and love. Saying that though, he has lost out in this one for me, and I'm a Manchester United supporter. But it weren't by a lot, let's face it, it was by 1 point. So that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your scores in the comments and who you had for each category. And I'll see you guys soon.